We've been doing this for a number of years, and it's been very successful. We've either met or exceeded all of our goals each year, so we respectfully ask that you approve this contract.
Very good. Questions for Chuck?
I'll move for approval of the contract.
Second.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you. Have a nice New Year's.
Thank you, Chuck.
Items 2 and 3 were pulled. Item D, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-488, 2017, with U.S. Foods for seasonal concession products, delivery to various concession stands and camp locations.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Knight, Parks and Recreation. This is our annual request to go out and we went out for our annual request to solicit bids for this. This is a contract for our food purchases for both concession stands, summer camps, those type of things. Generally, we spend around $250,000 a year purchasing this stuff, but the programs that are part of this produce about $2 million in revenues. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
I do have a technical question, John. In the memo, it says the agreement sets out to provide and deliver products at 7% over wholesale cost. But then when I look at the contract, it says markup of 0.07%. It should either be 0.07 or 7%. Does that make sense? Not 0.07%.
Correct. I'm looking for Brian Toby, who helped me write these two documents. It should be 7%.
Okay. Can we, for the record, have that corrected? Not 0.07%, but 7%. Okay, now I'll move to approve the contract with that adjustment.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Number 2, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-489, 2017, with the Greater Topeka Rowing Association, which allows the club to utilize the facilities in Lake Shawnee through December 31, 2018.
Commissioners, just to set the record straight, I just want to make sure everybody knows that I did get a C- in math, so that's where some of that came from. So I was the teacher's pet, or I wouldn't have got the C-. This is a contract with the Rowing Association to use the rowing building out at Lake Shawnee. If you'll recall, during the capital improvement request, there is a request from staff to do some remodeling of that building. This allows them to go in and perform some of their club functions going into the future until we decide what, when, or if we're able to do anything with that building. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions or comments from Mr. Knight?
I'll move approval of the
Second.
contract.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Number 3, consider approval of request to transfer excess 2017 Parks and Recreation budget funds to the Parks and Recreation Building Maintenance Fund for deferred maintenance items.
Commissioners, I'm using percentages again in this memo, so hopefully I got this correct. But we anticipate having about 1.5% of our operating budget left over. We'd like to transfer those funds into the building maintenance or capital 3R fund, which is where we're doing most of our deferred maintenance for our different facilities. I've talked with Betty Griner, and this is how she suggested we handle this. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Very good. Questions? Yes, John. Kevin.
Well, I don't know if that's a compliment to John or So, once the money's transferred, would that then come back before the commission as to where the deferred maintenance items are going to be spent?
Generally, those deferred maintenance items are follow the purchasing procedure. If they'll be under the purchasing guidelines, then they probably wouldn't come back to you. However, as you'll see later in this document, we do send a lot of the project budgets down just so you know where those funds are being spent.
So I know that's been part of our discussion is the deferred maintenance for Parks and Recreation, and I anticipate us having more discussion of deferred maintenance as we get into 2018, looking at our excess funds and maybe looking at some deferred maintenance items with Parks and Recreation.
Very good.
That's all the questions I had. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't have any questions. I'll move approval of the
Second.
request.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Number 4, consider authorization and execution of contract C-490, 2017, with Jenny Least for design of golf course logos at a rate of $50 per hour, not to exceed $2,500 from the Golf Division revolving operation budget.
Commissioners, this item is to, as the clerk just said, it's to develop a logo with that incorporates Shawnee County Parks and Rec's branding, but also sets out the 3 golf courses, Lake Shawnee, Cypress Ridge, and Forbes, so they have their own identity as well, too. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have. The golf funds are paying for that.
Is this going to include new signage going into the parks? Is that?
Yes, once the logo is developed, it's not going to be automatic that we put in a sign right away, but yes, the intent is to begin to replace signage going into the parks with the new Shawnee County logo or Parks and Rec logo branding and those type of things.
Yeah, Commissioner Cook.
What do we have in place now? I mean, is there any identifying logos for each of the 3 courses? What, I mean, how would this be a change?
Probably with right now, they have completely go their own separate direction. This actually would tie in with Parks and Recreation, the color schemes of our logo and our marketing, so that it begins to be branded for with the department. A lot of people don't know which departments the county runs and which ones are not. A common misconception is Shawnee Country Club. It's got the word Shawnee in it. People are sometimes confused whether or not that's a department thing. But the other places that we would use this logo are on things like scorecards that we hand out, maybe some different other materials that we hand out, so that the golf courses are known to be part of the department in the overall Shawnee County operation.
So you use it like on gift certificates, those types of
We-
things?
yes, mhm.
Yeah, okay.
So this is something that's going to have a wide impact, everything from your scorecards to your printed materials, to your T-shirts, to golf shirts, the logos on the equipment, signage. This is going to impact each of the golf courses very distinctly down the road.
Down the road, but keep in mind that we still have a lot of staff wearing the old logo, not even the new Meet You There type logo. We'll use up all of our other materials before. Kerry Golden's way too, I don't want to say cheap. Frugal. Way too frugal to not use all of the scorecards up that's got the old logos, but when we go to buy new, then we'll be using the new branding.
And it's indicated that $2,500 is reasonable for this assignment.
I don't even expect to get to the 2,500,
Okay.
but we wanted to put a max on it.
It just seemed kind of high to me, but I don't know. Anyway, other questions or thoughts?
And again, paid for out of the golf funds, and so it's not coming out of the other budget for the
That's
Parks.
true.
It is not taxpayer funds, it's the golf user fees are the funds that are developed there.
Good point.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Number 5, consider approval of request to solicit bids for the purchase of supplies and equipment necessary for the operation of Parks and Recreation program facilities in 2018.
Commissioners, this is a part of our annual request for the last couple of years. There are many seasonal items, from picnic tables to trash barrels to different types of chemicals, those type of things. We're asking for your permission to go out and solicit bids for all of those seasonal type purchases. The low bids generally are brought back to you or identified to you when we're making those purchases. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Number 6, consider approval of project budget request to replace the current surveillance system at the Oakland Community Center with high-definition cameras, an increased number of cameras to monitor all areas of the center at an estimated cost of $2,224.80, and to place solar lights at Skyline Park, Little Oakland Park, and Shunga Glen Rapon Skate Park at an estimated cost of $52,602.10, with $49,594.50 from the Capital Maintenance Fund and $3,007.60 from the 2018 operating budget.
Commissioners, as I stated on an earlier item, generally these project budgets of any significance do come down here to the Commissioners, so you know how those funds are being spent. The two projects that you have listed there are projects that have been run through our individual management plan committee. That's run by John Boyd, the superintendent of our green spaces, but he's also helped by Brian Toby, and both of those two guys are here if you have any specific questions about either one of these. But a key function of a key thing that came out of our master plan back in 2015 was several of our places needed to have upgrades to make the public feel safer, and some of these are security items like the security cameras for the Oakland Community Center and also the solar lighting, which is something we're really beginning to investigate. We're trying to work with, see if we can work with Westar for additional solar lighting, but this begins to bring in, and I did not do I don't have in front of me here the cost recovery on that, but generally these solar lightings, after a few years, begin to pay for themselves. John may have that information. He's nodding back there if you want some input on that.
Sure, bring him up.
Morning, Commissioners. John Boyd, Parks and Rec. The payback will depend on utility rates, of course, but at this point, we're projecting anywhere from 7 to 9 years, I'm going from memory on that, for the payback, depending on the price of the units as they come back from bid. So we're using a 2-year-old number that was from one of the neighborhood associations that got a grant to have the lights installed, and it was $8,000 per unit. I'm hoping the prices come down in the last 2 years, and then we're going to do, excuse me, the install in-house as well, and that was part of their original project, was the install as well, so we're hoping the prices come down for that.
Well, are the lighting systems in these three parks, are they obsolete? Are they falling apart?
There is no lighting system in
So this is
some of those
brand new.
parks.
Okay.
Skyline Park, the whole unit, actually, we would have to come across the street and bring in new service to have lights in the park up there at all. So what we're going to do is we put in a new parking lot a year ago, and we're going to light that parking lot up there with the solar lights and try them out up there as well.
Okay. 7 to 8 years sounds like a long payback for.
Well,
an
and that's
investment.
an estimate at this point in time. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm going off of memory. I think our PAL light systems are approximately $40 a month to just have Westar put in the lights. And it's even more than that if we bring our power in and have our own private lights. Then we pay, I think it was $30 a month just for the meter, and then whatever power we use in addition to that.
Okay. So you're enthusiastic about this, I assume?
I'm very hopeful, yes.
Okay. I had one other question. Is it says the department intends to inquire about utilizing funds from Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Foundation for the funding of Skyline Park solar lighting, which is $18,000. Why don't we postpone this until an intention until we find out something definite? Is there do you understand what I'm saying?
The money, I believe, was budgeted when Azura partnered with us and adopted that park, and so I believe that was part of our budget.
Okay. So it's more of a definite thing
Yes.
than we intend to ask.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thanks for clearing that up. Questions?
Thank you. As we move forward, I understand the cost recovery concern, but if we start to look forward, depending on how this works out, the number of parking lots that we have for every community center, every park, depending on how this works out and the amount of we spend with Westar, this could be something that we move forward on with the solar lighting. Also, if we look at the Shunga Trail, I mean, that's a common, it's a very, very heavily used, and when it starts to get towards the winter time and you have stretches of the Shunga Trail that aren't well lighted, this could be an alternative to that. And so, again, I'm very hopeful as to how this project works out, and I'll be watching it very closely. I know that other communities, such as Lawrence, have achieved a Westar grant for some of the lighting of their parks, and so I encourage you to continue to explore that.
Very good, thank you, thank you.
I will tell you, this time of the year, it does get dark right before 5 o'clock. That's one of the reasons why you don't see me out jogging after work.
I'm glad we didn't.
One of several reasons.
Yeah, I've missed that out on the trails. All right, anything else,
No,
Commissioners?
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Number 7, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-491, 2017, amendment to Contract C-255, 2016, with the Kansas Department of Wildlife, Parks and Tourism for improvements at Horseshoe Bend Park as part of the Community Fisheries Assistance Program.
Commissioners, this is, as you can see from the documents there, this is just an extension of the previous agreement with them to extend that project a little longer so we can finish up the project at Horseshoe Bend. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
I'll move to approve the contract.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, John. Next item, please.
Item 8, Public Works Solid Waste. Number 1, consider awarding bid for calcium chloride to Scottwood Industries for snow and ice control at a total cost of $22,400 with funding from the 2018 Road Maintenance Fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Flanagan, Public Works. This is our annual contract for calcium chloride. Scottwood Industries was the sole bidder. We recommend awarding a contract to Scottwood Industries to provide up to 20,000 gallons of calcium chloride for snow and ice control.
Questions?
I have a question.
Yes,
just one.
Commissioner Bueller.
Tom, is this, we're currently using this company?
Yes.
For providing the calcium chloride. Is, just a question that I had this morning, are we doing anything different with the roads? They seem to have just a little bit more of a white appearance on, and it's not the snow, it's along, it's along the roadway. But, you know, just, there's just a little bit of different appearance on some of the.
When we have this small snow events and we're applying the sand and salt to those roads, basically our mixture is probably pretty rich.
Okay.
And when that snow gets off or the ice gets off, there's a lot of residual of the chemical stays on the pavement.
Okay.
So now it's also a benefit for the next snow event. Unless we get a rain and wash it off, it'll be a residual that'll help
Okay.
us.
Okay, good, thank you. I was asked that question walking into the coffee shop this morning, so anyway, you helped answer it, thank you.
I'll move approval of the contract.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Number 2, consider approval of an emergency purchase request for engine repairs for 2 Shawnee County Solid Waste Department's trucks in a total amount of $32,051.51 from the Solid Waste Fund.
Commissioners, this is a solid waste item, obviously. We had 2 trucks that had engine failures, major engine failures. We needed to get these trucks back in service as soon as possible because we have no backups available, and it would have delayed service to the customers and routes. We passed this by Betty, and she concurred with it, and so we've had the repairs done. They've been done by Hoyt Truck Services. It'll be paid out of the solid waste funds. No taxpayers' money will be used. It'll be users' fees.
Questions?
No, I have no questions.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Tom. Next item, please.
Item F, Health Department. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-492, 2017, with Topeka Community Cycle Project to administer $14,300 of grant funds from the Kansas Department of Health and Education for the Chronic Disease Risk Reduction Grant for Education, Outreach, and Advocacy Coordination to expand bicycle lessons and safety training curriculum across Shawnee County School Districts at no cost to the county.
All right. Good morning, Commissioners. Craig Barnes, Health Department. Linda asked that I give you guys a little bit of a nice presentation, so I'll make it quick because I know there's a lot on the agenda. But I'm here today to ask for authorization of the MOU with the Topeka Community Cycle Project to fund a part-time position that we'll get it right here. Education Outreach and Advocacy Coordinator that will expand the bicycle lessons and safety training. What that is the BLAST program. And so the BLAST program was started when the Topeka Community Cycle Project received funding from Heartland Healthy Neighborhoods and the Topeka Community Project, or Foundation, to purchase bicycles and a trailer to launch this in the winter of 2015. What they received was, as you can see, the trailer outfitted to be able to take bicycles to area schools here in our community. They got 37 traditional bikes in 3 different sizes with 20, 24, and 26-inch rims for the wheels, as well as 3 balance bicycles. What those bicycles do is actually allow the volunteer trainers to actually teach individuals to bike while other individuals are doing the advanced bicycle lessons and safety training aspects of it. And so that was started there. So with complete volunteer hours, they were able to then reach in excess of 1,000 USD 501 children in that first year. So that was, again, I want to say, with just volunteers, and that was just the one school district with USD 501. So again, what the class does is it teaches a basic understanding of bicycling and how to ride properly in our city. One of the big things that this does is it builds on partnerships that are happening already. If you're familiar with, which I'm sure you are, the Topeka Metro Bikes program, that is a system that has 200 current bikes with the plans to expand more bikes, more hubs throughout our community, but you have to be 16 to be able to actually rent and use one of those bikes. So this is teaching the kids those actual lessons before they're able to then go and rent one of those bikes to use within our community. So it's really important that we're teaching kids who are interested in bicycling those lessons and those safety trainings for them so they can use those avenues. Not only that, but it also teaches those kids within those PE curriculums, that's where these classes are taking place, is kind of the rules of the road. So not only do we have the kids who are interested in furthering their riding experience in the future, but also we get sympathetic drivers in the future. And I think that's key for the expansion of what we're doing with our Bikeways Master Plan, the work happening through the Complete Streets Advisory Council, and many other community coalitions that are happening here in Shawnee County, but that we have those riders, as when they're kids, we teach them those rules so that when they become adults and they're driving on the roads, they realize that 3 feet rule, they figure out and they know what a sharrow is when they see it on the road, that we're seeing more of those, what a bike lane is, and they're not parking in the middle of a bike lane, and things of that sort. So it's really important that the kids are learning this information early on so it can transfer on as they get older. From that, I think it's also important to point out, again, building on partnerships, that the Topeka Community Cycle Project, they partnered with Parks and Rec, and they have moved into the Oakland Community Center. So that's building a strong partnership already with the Shawnee County community and us as a whole here. But also, it allows them a little bit better connections than what they originally had there on Kansas Avenue. It's also important to know that they are, in this position, would help with the ideas of trying to expand some of these operations into some other community centers by putting on classes there as well, something that's not happening. So this is not a duplication of efforts by any means. This is building on the programs that have already been in place that are really strong and evidence-based, and really getting the resources and everything that we need out into the community. So I think it's very important. And it's also important to know that, as I said, this is going to be funding that position, but it's already out of allocated funds through our CDRR grant, or our Chronic Disease Risk Reduction Grant. So we have funded the $14,300 already within that CDRR grant, so there's no money coming from taxpayers for this position to help fund this position. And as I said, it will start leading more classes in USD 501, as well as our other school districts here in Shawnee County, and then expand classes into other community centers. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, and I also have Ben Alford and Andy Fry here with the Topeka Community Cycle Project to answer any questions that I might not be able to.
There are tax dollars involved. This is state tax dollars, not
Right, yes.
local tax dollars.
Yes,
So
not our
I wanted
local
to clear
tax dollars,
that up.
yes.
TMTA has a full-time position bike guy.
Okay.
But you're saying that none of this is duplicative of what they're doing?
Correct, yes. Now,
How
this
is it integrated? How is it
Right.
working with them?
So the Metro bikes that they are looking for, and they partner within multiple coalitions here in the community to look at good ample places to put like bicycle hubs, and increasing access to have those bikes. So this is focusing on the youth. So in the middle schools, the elementary schools, and in their PE curriculums to teach them the ways of the road. So teach them to ride bicycles if they do not know already how to, as well as, and if they know how to ride, how to do it properly, what the safety measures are, bicycle helmets, how to use bike lanes, how to use our trails. Then when they turn 16, then they're eligible to actually rent bicycles through the Metro bikes. You have to be 16 before you can do so. And so now, once they have actually learned how to properly use a bicycle, we can now turn them loose on the hundreds of bikes that we have in our community to ride those bikes to and from school, to and from work, if they have summer jobs. And then I think it just builds on itself. If we have more riders learning how to ride bikes, then using the services that are here available already, we can increase, and hopefully that would procure more funds for us to increase the trail network and more bike lanes, and make our community a safe place for all people who are using bicycles.
So this grant meshes well with...
Whoa, very well,
Okay,
very well.
Very good. Commissioner Bueller, you have some thoughts?
I just, it's built very well. I think the advocacy has taken place with complete streets, with bikeways, and then, of course, the investment in equipment with bikes throughout the metro. But the education piece is really key, and so I'm going to be supporting this. I think it's a good way to bring everything together and to. I mean, you know, when I grew up, you just got on your bike and went everywhere, you know, and that doesn't happen anymore. And so we have to go back and educate those in grade school and middle school and do it safely. So I think it's a good project, really good project.
I think that was a motion to approve.
It was,
wasn't it?
yes, I will do that.
For a second, if we could have maybe some of our partners
Yeah, that'd
from
be
the
good.
Topeka Cycle Project come forward, if they're able to, and maybe kind of talk about the Topeka Cycle Project and how the partnership with Parks and Rec is going, and the Oakland Community Center, and just...
Yeah. all
Hi,
good.
Ben Alford. Thanks for having us. I'm the president of the Topeka Community Cycle Project. We partnered with the Parks and Rec in June. And since then, we've had a much more stable environment. We've had a higher turnout of volunteers, and we've just had a great relationship so far. And we're looking forward to building more of that, and then trying to branch out to some of the other community centers and do more classes and do more programming. So it's working out really well for us.
Very
We're really
good.
happy with it.
So a question I get asked often is, am I still able to donate bicycles to the Topeka Cycle Project, kind of like we used to be able to do on Kansas Avenue?
Yes, we still can. We do it during open shop hours on Thursday and Saturday. And we are currently trying to expand our hours now that we've got better facilities and better access to volunteers.
So as we start to get in our garages and get new bicycles for Christmas, and we get into spring, this would be a good opportunity. to pass
Yeah,
on.
and we're looking at doing a bike drive in March. So
okay.
when everyone is doing their spring cleaning, setting up something kind of like the electronics recycling. We're kind of looking at the logistics behind that.
And where are you located?
Oakland Community Center.
Oakland Community Center, okay.
So we'd like to set up something, but we need to get permission for the parking lot and everything else, so.
All right.
Look forward to it.
Thank you for being here this morning.
Oh, thank you for having us.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you very much. Have a good
Appreciate
year to you.
Next item, please.
Item G, corrections. Number 1, consider approval of request to reject the bid for the Sallyport Ceiling Repair Project and permission to solicit bids for the project in the spring of 2018.
Good morning, Commissioners. Eve Kendall, Department of Corrections. I have before you a request to reject the sole bid that we had for the garage ceiling project. We feel that the timing was not really conducive. Who wants to do some painting and what when it's sub-zero degrees outside? And also, the bid was a little bit more than what we expected, probably because there was only one bid. So we're hoping that we can reject this bid and go out in the spring where it might be a little bit more readily accessible and other contractors might be willing to put their hat into the ring. It's not a mission essential that we have this project done right now, so we're wanting to postpone it and then take it up in the spring. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I'll move to approve the request.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Eve. Next item, please.
Item H, facilities maintenance. Number 1, consider approval of request to use 2017 contingency funds for the emergency replacement of one Strobic fan motor at the Shawnee County Coroner's Office in an amount of $5,200.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Kroll, Facilities Maintenance Director. Back in November, the City of Topeka facilities folks contacted me to tell me that one of the 2 Strobic fan motors at the coroner's office had begun to fail, and they were planning on getting it replaced. They're not a real common item because they deal with, kind of a modulating blower to keep the air pressures correct in the coroner's office so that we can't cross-contaminate into the law enforcement center. So that fan should be replaced this week, and it is a 2017 item, was ordered in 2017, so we're asking for 2017 contingency funds to cover it. Be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions for Bill?
I'll move for approval.
A second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Bill. Next item, please.
Item I, Administrative Services. Number 1, consider approval of the requests for 2018 memberships, dues, and subscriptions in a total amount for all departments of $182,932.
Good morning, Betty Griner, Director of Administrative Services. We come to you each year with the list of the memberships, dues, and subscriptions for you to approve just the entire list, so then that way, as they come through the clerk's office for payment, they've already all been approved. The departments list their membership dues and subscriptions when they prepare their budget, but that is in May, so at that point in time, they are guessing the amount or using their best guess. Then towards the end of the year, each year, we ask them that they review the memberships, dues, and subscriptions, and that they evaluate them for the best, most effective use of their funds. So then they send back a revised list to my department. We do compile all those. This year, we've added a couple of items that I wanted to bring to your attention. First, we added the Elvis subscription. That's the state election software. It's a subscription for workstations. That we have paid that in the past. That is $30,000. But we have added it to the subscription list this year. So it's not a new expenditure. It's just added to this list as a subscription. The other item is we've also added this year subscriptions that are paid out of other funds, like some of the sheriff's other funds that they're paid. We included those in this list to try to be as encompassing as possible in all of the subscriptions, memberships, and dues. So if you will look at this, the general fund amount, after you adjust it for the Elvis addition this year, has increased by 2%, which is within a very reasonable range for an increase. Also, many of these renewals have not been received yet. They will be received throughout the year. So this is the best guess of the departments of what those amounts will be. In 2002, the financial administrator was given the authority to set a range that these expenditures could exceed the approved amount and still be paid. For the last several years, that amount has been $50. It will remain at $50 for 2018. If an amount comes in that's over $50 of what was approved, then it will come back on the agenda for your approval at that time. So if you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them. If not, I ask for your approval.
Questions?
Questions? No. I'll move approval.
Second.
Request.
Motion made to approve the request by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Number 2, consider approval of request to use 2017 contingency funds for repairs of the fire sprinkler piping system at the Law Enforcement Center in an amount of $232,829.34.
The county has a lease with the city of Topeka for the space that's used by the sheriff's office and the coroner at the LEC. This lease states that the county will reimburse the city for their share of repairs. They had 2 such repairs this year, in 17. The first was a roof replacement. The total amount of that was $545,412. They also had repairs to the fire sprinkling system of $116,035. The county's portion of the space was determined to be 35.2%. So the county's portion of these repairs totals the $232,829.34. I am asking for your approval to pay these out of the 2017 contingency funds.
Questions for Betty on this issue? I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Number 3, consider approval of request to transfer 2017 contingency funds to a project fund for replacement of the Expo Center chiller system at the Manor Conference Center in an amount of $413,000.
Okay, the Expo Center chiller system provides chilled water to the Manor Conference Center for their air conditioning. We have been notified that the Expo Center system will need to be repaired or replaced or something. Anyway, when that goes down, the chilled water will no longer be going to Manor Conference Center. So we will need to be doing whatever we need to do at Manor. Bill can tell you the technical part of it. Yeah, I'll let him explain it a little better to you.
Yeah, currently, the Expo Center provides the air conditioning water or the chilled water to the Manor Conference Center. It's been that way for a number of years. Originally, Manor did have their own system, but when that failed, the Expo Center had a system that was able to supply that. The design, as it's going forward on the Expo Center renovations, would switch that system away from chilled water to rooftop units, which would necessitate having a new system put into Manor as well. All told, it will be cheaper in the long run to do it this way. It keeps Manor separate with their own system and has the Expo Center on its own system. So it's all part of the Expo Center project, but Manor isn't part of the tax liability for that, so we need to do it in a different way, which is what Betty suggested. Any questions you might have, I'll answer those too.
Are there questions or comments on it? Just pretty much wipe out our contingency fund
Well,
for the year?
the estimate that I've received at this point in time, and this is a very ballpark estimate, is that this will cost $423,000. Now, we will not know an actual amount, until we go out for bid or whatever and find out the actual amount for this. But what I am asking, we have about $413,000 remaining in the contingency for 2017. In fact, $413,383. I'm asking to transfer $413,000 of that to a project fund for this, for the HVAC system for Manor. It probably will not cover all of it, although we can hope, but it would certainly cover the major portion of it. It is thought that this could be done as early as spring of 18, so I would really like to be prepared and know where the funds are coming from for this if it should happen quickly.
Commissioner Cook?
In leading up to this, this was not identified as one of our first preeminent needs. Wasn't the boiler system looked at one of the other needs?
Well, my thought, not being, that versed in maintenance, was that the boiler system was a concern, and it is still a concern, and it will be part of the renovation at Expo Center. But the boiler is not connected with Manor. But Spectra, when they took over the management of the Expo Center, had their people come in and do a full facility audit on the Expo Center and all of that. Their concern, or their priority, is the air conditioning. They and Kellen may speak to that more, but they were more concerned with the air conditioning making it through this next summer than the boiler.
Yeah, good morning, Commissioners. Kellen Seitz, Spectra Venue Management, Kansas Expo Center. The real concern is for the Expo exhibition hall. Right now, the rooftop units that are servicing that space, we're currently only operating or have operational use of about 2 of 6 of those units. During the last summer year, which we came in September, we hit some very challenging situations to keep those units operational. Our fear is that if those units aren't replaced, that they may not remain 100% operational moving forward into the spring and summer months as we come through this next season. So the unfortunate reality is that the systems are connected at the current moment, where the system that operates the Landon Arena and Exhibition Hall also operate Manor Conference Center. The optimistic outlook for the renovation project in terms of deferred maintenance do, as Betty suggests, create a much more financially responsible way of servicing the HVAC needs for both of those spaces, with rooftop units making it more cost-effective for us to operate both of those facilities. Even though we don't operate Manor, it will make that operational cost go down.
Very good.
That answers the questions I think I had.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll move approval of the request.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Betty. Bill and Kellen, thank you. Next item, please.
Administrative communications.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kellen Seitz, Spectra Venue Management. Just wanted to give a brief update of all of our public open skates. They went through very well. We did a date skate night in regards to Cirque du Soleil, where we served free hot chocolate, and that was received very well. The Hotel Capitol Plaza came up with a couples dinner package that we promoted for that event as well. So just continuing our partnership and working relationship there with the other buildings on campus is nice to see moving forward. We will be doing the same kind of dinner package for Cirque du Soleil coming forward in January, so be on the lookout for that. If you're on our email database, you'll certainly receive correspondence of those dinner packages coming forward. But this weekend, we moved back into Roadrunners hockey on Friday and Saturday, both of those games starting at 7:05 p.m. So looking forward to getting games back in the building.
All right.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kellen. Anyone else this morning for administrative communications? Commissioner Cook?
I just want to thank you for the update at the beginning. I know it seems a while ago since we addressed that, but, you know, that year-end review, there is a lot that was accomplished this year, and I thank all of our department heads for everything that they did. It was a team effort, and that's, you know, one of the things that we always try to stress with the county is that we are a team. We're all here working together, not just in our individual silos, but just here working as a team. So thank you for all of that.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Cook. Commissioner Buer?
I would agree. Thank you for the review, and I think we all know that government moves somewhat slow sometimes, and a lot of those projects were not just months, but years in the making, and so it takes a lot of people who've been dedicated. I want to say thank you to the dedicated, hardworking men and women of this county for your daily service to Shawnee County. I know last night about 6 o'clock, I think it was 5 degrees out, and I heard my trash being hauled away. You know, I thank you to everybody who works those 24/7 operations, for everybody who's working out in this bitter cold. So we greatly appreciate everything that you do.
Very well said. Thank you both. I appreciate it. Our next we don't have a meeting next week. Our next meeting will be January the 8th, 2018. So I would like to wish everyone a Happy New Year, and be careful out there. Next item, please.
Executive session?
There's not a need, so we're officially adjourned. Thank you for attending this morning.